Good day and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob and I'm pleased you're with me. Thank you for joining me. In our most recent post here, we started to examine where it is that we get tripped up in our personal recovery programs. I'm curious, what did you find? My guess is that if you were able to do the exercise and to start off by naming some of the specific obstacles in your recovery, anything from your genetics to the environment that you've grown up in, to your ability to be self-disciplined now, and more. If you were able to name these specific obstacles and then to make note, again, as was in the exercise, make note of any feelings that come up in your body and emotions, my guess is that you discovered that even recalling these, let's call them blockages in your recovery, even recalling them can bring up lots of unpleasantness. It's challenging, but hang with me, okay? We're headed in a positive direction. I'd like you to take this first exercise in which we've identified personal challenges to sobriety, and let's take it one step deeper. Today, I'd like you to start by taking a blank sheet of paper and writing at the very top of it, "What's holding me back?" ? What's holding me back? In the middle of that sheet, draw an oval. And inside of that, I'd like you to pick just one of the challenges to recovery that you identified in this previous exercise, the one we just talked about. Pick one of them that for you is a big challenge. Put that right in the center of the oval. And then around that challenge, around that oval, I'd like you to write down the first half dozen thoughts or associations that come up for you in relationship to this specific challenge that you selected. So that challenge in the middle, thoughts, associations that arise around the circle. And out of those, let's say half a dozen or so items that you, those thoughts that come up for you, that well up when you think about this particular challenge or impediment, I'd like you to pick the one of those that's the toughest for you. So let's say that the item that you picked was unlucky genes. I'd like you to take a look at how does that feel to you to recognize that you've maybe haven't been dealt the greatest hand of cards when it comes to your genes. I'd like you to make a note of how that feels to you. I'd also like you to write down any negative storylines that come up for you around this particular thought, which would be, it could be the depressor or the fixer. Let me give you a couple of examples of the depressor and the fixer. You might say, I'm doomed because there's so much addiction in my family. That's back to having unlucky genes. And you might go on to say, I might as well give up and go get high. And I know it doesn't sound like it, but that's the fixer at work, trying to fix that unpleasant feeling of feeling doomed. See while you're doing this, if you can identify any associated inner requirements. For example, I should not have been given such a bad deal, such a rough or rotten deal in my life. That's a requirement. And what I want to say is, even though this can be admittedly rough to go through this, I'll tell you, and I really want you to trust me on this one, the only way that we can make changes is if we face some of these challenging themes, thoughts, reflexes, only if we face them head on. So let's see what comes up today as you look at what's holding you back, picking one of those items that's most problematic, looking at the thoughts that come up around that, including negative storylines, the depressor, the fixer, any inner requirements, and then come back to our next podcast here, because I'll have more to say about that and also provide some means of relief. Okay. I want to thank you for joining me today. Thanks again. Please stay safe, be well, and I hope to see you again here soon.